Anyways, hello everybody. Welcome to ShineCon, first year. I hope you guys are excited. I'm really happy that they have a new con now that we can all enjoy. Hopefully it goes up from here. So anyways, we are doing a cosplay Q&A Ask Away. We're going to be talking about all things cosplay, from getting started into cosplay to dealing with negativity and stuff online, and then working our way up to actually becoming a profession and working with companies and stuff. So my vision for this panel actually was to make a panel about what I would have wanted to know before getting into cosplay. So when I was making this PowerPoint, I wanted to make sure I touch on a lot of different things that I feel like would have helped me along the way if I had knew beforehand. So that is kind of how I wanted to do the panel. So, wait, what did you say? Nope, not that one. Oh, no, yeah, that one. Okay. So what this panel is going to be about, it's going to be, like I said, everything about cosplay, how to get started, what to expect in this hobby and profession for some, how to deal with negativity online and on the community, body positivity, turning a hobby into a profession, and then at the end we'll have whatever questions. Also, I will be asking you, or you guys can also ask us questions after every slide, because each slide is going to be a bullet point about each topic. So if you guys have any questions, definitely ask us at the end. Also, what will help to smooth it along is if you guys could say, oh, this question's for Gabby, or this question's for me, or for both of us, so that way we know which one to answer and stuff, so we're not just like, hey, you know, so that will make it a lot more smoother, so that way we can get through everyone's questions. So, to get started, there we go. First introductions, I go by Fruitcake Cosplay online. My real name is Vanessa, but I do answer to Fruitcake, or Cake, or Fruit. I have many different nicknames online. I've been cosplaying since 2005, so when I was 15, so it's been a while. I've done over 80 costumes. I'm a full-time streamer and cosplay right now. I've competed and judged in masquerades. I've also been a cosplay guest for many conventions, including ShineCon. I've been featured on IGN. I've worked with Viz Media, Wizard World, DreamHack, Gamefly, and I'm currently contracted by Bandai Namco. So, other than that, I like to teach people. I love video games. I have a giant fuzzy squirrel named Murray. He's actually a German Shepherd Malamute, but that's literally what he looks like all the time. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, my favorite game is Legend Dragoon, so I don't know if anyone knows that game, but it's a good game. But yeah.
You're also a huge jerk.
I'm a huge jerk, yes. I do like making people laugh. And I think, and I like just seeing people smile and laugh, so it's fun times. Oh, so here's a...
Tinkle.
Howdy, y'all.
Just like to buy a map.
Alright, so I am Gabrielle Cook Cosplay. People like to call me Gabby. I like it when people call me Goob. It's what my family, I grew up and I was obsessed with Scooby-Doo. So that's why it was my family nickname. I even had like a giant stuffed animal of Scooby that I would carry around with me. It was great. So I started cosplaying in 2014. Every time I talk about when I started cosplaying, Kalika's here. She's actually the reason why I started cosplaying, because I saw pictures of her on Tumblr, and she was cosplaying, like she showed her cosplay for SabaCon, and that's how I found out about my first convention and learned about cosplay, and she inspired me and helped me gain the confidence to go and cosplay, so that's her. I'm a full-time cosplayer. I do a lot of work for Patreon, so a lot of modeling on the side for it, and I also do a lot of Instagram modeling, so I work with companies to showcase their products to be able to sell it to my targeted audience, basically. And then I've competed at SabaCon, and I have judged for a couple of different conventions around the country. So I was in Otakon DC, Otakon Vegas, etc. It's a lot of fun. And then I've worked with Red Bull Esports for EVO, and Unicorn, that's also for esports, Cosplay Sky, Bright Eyes, Everyday Wigs, and more. So basically those last companies, when you see on Instagram, a lot of times you'll see people like, hey, look at my wig. a lot of the times it's usually because the company sent them the wig and they're trying to get other people to look in onto it. So that's what I do, which is a lot of fun. And then I have a cat named Boo Boos, and there's actually an update because we got a new member of the family. We did. She showed up on my porch and she refused to leave. Took her in and everything like that. We actually technically have less than 10 days left until we can legally own her.
Yeah.
So I have named her. I wasn't supposed to name her yet, but I fell in love with her. I love Final Fantasy, so I named her Aranea, but we call her Ari for short. And then I used to run a Neopet blog. That's how I started on social media, Tumblr. I was called the Sexy Chia. If anyone's familiar with Neopets, Chias are not sexy. they're up there with like Quiggles and being the worst pets.
Potatoes.
And then I started cosplaying too after I found an Attack on Titan jacket at an anime store as well, and I purchased it to wear for every day. And then I was like, oh, I gotta get more. So that was fun. And then my waifu for lifu is Monica from Doki Doki Literature Club.
Which is gonna be Sunday, right?
Yes. And she's gonna be Sayori, and she's gonna be Sayori. Right?
So, let's see the next one. Okay, so first thing I want to talk about is getting started into cosplay. Of course, the first step is choosing a character. With choosing a character, I think a lot of people have this pre-notion that they have to look like the character already. So a lot of people, especially newer people that get into cosplay think, oh, if this character looks like me, then, oh yeah, I could pull it off. But the thing about cosplay is you're not supposed to already look like the character. With cosplay, you're supposed to be able to use makeup and wigs and turn yourself into the character. And so when choosing a character, the best thing you can do is just choose a character you like. Choose a character that you played in a video game that you enjoyed or watched an anime that you really liked. So you definitely don't have to look like the character already to choose a character. And then the next thing is gathering materials, going to Joann's, all that kind of stuff. There's Michael's. You can even buy cosplays online. It honestly doesn't matter. Making a cosplay versus buying one, and everything is cosplay. I think I've bought some costumes online. I've made my own costumes. I've got clothes from my closet and turned those into cosplays. So cosplay is literally just dressing up like your character and having fun. Let's see. Oh, advancements in cosplay. So I've been in the cosplay game for a long time, and you've also been in it for a couple years now too, and it's progressed so much, right?
It has changed drastically in just the past couple of years, from like the first month that I ever started cosplaying to now. Not only has the hobby changed, the community has changed, and everything's been growing, everything's been getting bigger. Even our hobbies have been getting bigger because everything's becoming so much more mainstream. It's becoming easier and easier for people to to be able to gain access to the games that we play, to the anime that we watch. It's really pretty amazing. So that, and I wanted to point out too, for getting started, I wanted to suggest to you guys some amazing starters for when you're starting out. Like when it came down to me making my first prop I ever made, I made it out of cardboard, and it was a giant sword for Anime Call Me Wonder Woman. And there's this on YouTube, if you just look up, it's called Storm the Castle, and it's all about starting products, because sometimes it can seem really intimidating to go into cosplay, because you'll go and you'll look at a lot of these really, really talented, amazing cosplayers, and they have this huge workshop, and they're like, oh yes, I have the molding machine and all of my Warbler and all my Dremels and fancy things. You don't need to start out with that. You can just start out with a box cutter, some tape, a hot glue gun, and cardboard, and you can make something absolutely amazing.
And the will.
Yeah, and the will. Lots of tears are involved, a couple paper cuts, but you can be a little bit careful. But if you just go onto YouTube or even on there's this app, the
cosplay.
Amiibo. Cosplay Amino. There's a bunch of different communities of people that would love to help you. You guys can always message us at Well, because we both love teaching and we love talking to people about it. It's really easy to start and it's a lot of fun.
And just to point out about what cosplay was before, when I started, we didn't have any Warbler. EVA phone was non-existent either. So we had like she said, cardboard, paper mache, and those were struggle days. Those are the struggle days.
eBay wigs.
Yeah, and yeah, the cheap costume wigs whew, from Party City. Ooh, yeah, those melted. I actually melted one of them on a flat iron, so that was fun. But yeah, what's really great about cosplay now is there's so many tutorials and so many different materials now that's very accessible, very easy to learn. And if there's something you do want to learn, it's just a click away. And for us, back then, we had to go on forums and just look for hours just to find a tutorial on how to do a wig or how to make a costume or how to make a prop. So definitely I do like that it's progressing and I'm seeing newer cosplayers coming up with amazing things because it's so easy now to make it because of all these tutorials and all these easy materials to work with. So if you guys are ever wanting to get into cosplay, you should. Now's the time. Also, there's a lot of aspects with cosplay as well. Not only are you dressing up like the character, but there's a lot of different things that go into cosplay. There's makeup artistry, there's wig styling, there's even acting involved into it, and we'll get into that.
Good girl.
Okay, great. I saw that, I was like, oh, waifu. But so yeah, there's a lot of aspects to cosplay. It's not just dressing up, and like I said, we'll touch into more once we get into the slides. But yeah, this is our first costumes. I'll tell you a little bit about my first one. I cosplayed as Kairi from Kingdom Hearts 2. This whole costume was made of heat bond, and if you guys know what heat bond is, it's that stuff you iron on to make hems. The whole thing was made of that. It didn't last after one wash. I'm just telling you. But you know, that's one of the things. Like cosplay is all about learning, and so going from this to this, you know, it's a very wonderful journey. Really hard, but as long as you're willing to learn, it's definitely something that will open your eyes to many different things. You wanna? I know it's your Attack on Titan jacket.
Yep, I got this Attack on Titan at an old anime shop that used to be here in Vegas. And this was at Level Up Expo, gosh, maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago. As you can see, I used my natural hair. I don't have the belts, I don't have the 3D maneuver gear, I just have the swords. I thought that you were allowed to carry live steel at cons back then. I was very wrong. I found that out the hard way when I went to Sabicon next. But pretty much, I can tell, it doesn't look like you're wearing a wig either.
Oh no, actually, I hairsprayed my hair.
So,
Or like, it was like one of those like color things from Hot Topic that will color your hair.
the
and
spray
I was like,
colors.
oh yeah, this will definitely work.
It's fun. I did the same thing when I did Hanji for the first time. Yeah, because I did this again at the next con I went to, but I was actually Hanji. I just went around telling people, like, this is me if I was an Attack on Titan. Like, you know, and they're like, oh, why haven't I seen that character in the manga? I was like, you know, let's be real here. If I was an Attack on Titan, I would die first. So,
Don't say that about yourself. That sounds like Twitter talk.
Yeah, you should have just told them I'm the character in the back. You know the little small detailed character in the back? That was me.
The little rectangle
Yeah.
drawn in the background. That was me. But I actually even still reuse all of these. Like I still have the jacket. Love Attack on Titan Season 3 is amazing. I have used these boots for literally 10 plus costumes. They're starting to finally fall apart. I'm very sad. But you'll find that some of the stuff that you'll get from when you first start, you might keep it all the way through forever. I'm never going to throw away these boots because they're a memory for me, you know? And then, yeah, it doesn't matter.
It's very pretty though.
Did you buy those boots, or did you make them?
My grandma bought me the boots.
Aw, so it's even more sentimental.
Yeah. She bought me the boots. She's like, I don't know what Attack on Titan is, but I'm sure it's happy and nice.
Yeah,
No, it's
very Disney.
It's a cartoon, Grandma. It's okay.
Yeah. Just tell them it's a cartoon. They won't ask questions. Anybody else have questions so far? Okay, so we'll move on. So the next thing is, what can you expect?
Oh, God.
And this is I see someone familiar in this. So what to expect in this this hobby, this community? definitely meeting other nerds. It's with any community, the best thing to do in a community is just to make friends and talk with people and make connections, because you never know who's a nerd, who is into what you're into, all that stuff. And when you start in cosplay and you start meeting a lot of people, you'll actually be surprised who plays video games or who watches anime. Even now on social media, a lot of celebrities are saying, oh yeah, I love Naruto, you know? So you just never know who's into the same things you are, and it's good to explore and meet new people, because it's also, for me, it helped me branch out and kind of come out of my shell, because I was very introverted and very shy. So definitely going and meet people is a big thing. Also, a supportive and not supportive community. And this goes with anything really. It can go with a job, it can be with any other communities, even like, I don't know, the brony community. I don't know how the brony community is, but
There's some spicy drama.
there's spicy drama. But with every community, every job, there's always going to be people who want to put you down, and then there's going to be people who want to support you. And I think the biggest thing is just knowing who's there to support you and who's there not to. And it's all about building that small circle of people. It's good to be friends with everybody, and it's good to be friendly to everybody, but it's also good to have that handful of people that you know you can always go to and talk to. Because especially with the cosplay community, once you start putting yourself out on the internet, there are things that you're gonna have to deal with. There's criticism, there's body shaming, there's a lot of different things, and we'll get into detail because I have a slide separated for that. And then other than that, there's conventions, photographers, attendees. Cosplay is good if you're introverted. I know that sounds kind of weird and opposite, but honestly, when I started, I was very shy. And then when I started meeting other people and working with other people, cosplay kind of breaks you out of that shell, especially when a lot of people are coming up to you and asking for pictures. And if you're not used to that, you know, you can kind of freeze and like freak out. But it's good to always push yourself and see where you can go, because the human mind is very strong and you want to be able to progress as a person, and cosplay has definitely helped me out with that. And I know you might have some like experiences and stuff that you've grown.
So I know that I seem really, really like flamboyant and loud. That's because I'm in my costume. For me, it's a persona. When I put on this costume, it's putting on that extra layer of confidence where I really actually do finally feel like myself. In my everyday life, I'm actually pretty quiet, hang out in my apartment, hang out with boo-boos and R&A, just petting the cats. But when I do my cosplay, I feel like I'm able to really be able to branch out and talk to people. I'll be at cons sometimes where I'm kind of like, hi, will you be my friend? Will you be my friend? But then the beautiful thing about this community is that a lot of us have that same thing in common, whether we're cosplaying or we're not. When we're surrounded by things that we love, like anime, video games, it opens that different part of ourselves. That's who we really are. And that's what's so beautiful about the cosplay community. Because yeah, there's a lot of bad things that can happen, as in like any other community. You'll have, you know, people that are mean online, even some people that you'll meet at a con, they're kind of mean. But overall, for the most part, it's a beautiful experience, and I'm very, very happy to be a part of it.
And like she said, you'll meet people who, you know, aren't very nice, but if you look at the community as a whole, there's only a tiny few bad eggs in a whole community full of very supportive people. And so we'll get into all of that, I think in the next slide, maybe? Yes, next slide. Okay, so dealing with negativity. So these quotes are actually quotes that have been said to me or said to friends. So like, oh, you're too ugly to be that character. Isn't that character supposed to be Asian? Eat a burger. You should exercise before doing this cosplay character. I've heard it all. And I know you probably, like everyone I know in the cosplay community has had something said to them. Luckily, I've never had anyone actually come up to me and say it. I think it's all everyone behind a keyboard just type, you know, because they think there's no repercussions or consequences. So with dealing with negativity, the first thing you gotta remember is you don't need confirmation from others. You don't need someone to tell you you're a good cosplayer. You don't need someone to tell you you can't do this or can't do that. The thing with cosplay is that it's your interpretation of the character. Cosplay is art. If you go to an art museum, you're gonna get people who criticize the art, who'll be like, that dot in the middle of the paper is not art, you know? You'll get people like that, but then you'll get other people who are just like, oh yeah, that's magnificent, it's a masterpiece, you know? But that's the thing with cosplay, and that's the thing with being an artist, is your art is open to interpretation and open to criticism. But in the end, the art, in the end, is your own interpretation, and no one else's. So you don't need anyone to tell you that, oh, it was good, oh, you're bad, all that. The only confirmation you need is from yourself. So like I said, cosplay is a form of art. And then knowing the difference between constructive criticism and toxicity and hate. This is a big thing. I think a lot of people can't differentiate the difference between those two. A lot of people will sometimes mix the two together. You know, constructive criticism and just toxicity and hate can be very similar, but they're definitely different. And knowing the difference between those things, knowing the intention behind what's being said is a big thing for you to understand, because you know, you want people to be able to give you advice, but you also want to know who has your best interest at heart. You know, you don't want to take everyone's advice, because sometimes people will tell you like the craziest things, and you're just like, that's not it. So how to deal and to deal or not to deal. So, don't worry, we're not playing the game show. To deal or not to deal. To deal with the hate online or not to deal with the hate online. I personally don't deal with it. If someone says something to me or writes something about me, I totally just ignore it. What do you do?
For me, it depends. I'm not gonna lie, I get hate every single day. Every single day, to the point where a lot of times I let the messages pile up on my Instagram. But occasionally, I will comment back. If I see something, like if they comment on my picture being like, hey, you're too fat. And I'll comment, and what I like to do is to kill them with kindness. And it's interesting, a few people, and it doesn't matter, if I don't get through to them, whatever, they're not worth my time. But sometimes you'll find people and they'll be surprised. Because I feel like a lot of the times with online, some of these people that harass and bully, they don't see us as people. It's weird. They see us in this costume and they don't see that there's an actual person under that costume. So sometimes I'll actually reply back publicly and be like, hey, you know, that's not cool. You know, I'm a real person. You should think about what you say to other people, and I hope that you're doing okay, basically. And it'll be surprising, because sometimes those people will actually, you'll see, because they'll be shocked. They'll be like, huh, wait, they said something back to me? But a lot of times it's not worth it. It's mainly just up to your discretion and what you feel is right and what you feel comfortable with. Because sometimes I'll get messages that I'm just like, block. They're not worth my time. They're not worth my time. So it's really just up to you and what makes you happy and feel comfortable. But just know that if you do decide to confront someone who's bullying you, to know that you're doing it out of yourself for your own closure, and do not expect any closure from them. Because you're doing it, you're talking for you and making yourself feel good after you were hurt. And it's not, don't expect them to always come and see your point of view and your side.
So yeah, it's always good to be the better person. Even if someone has hurt you, it's always good to, you can try to forgive them, but it's more like accepting that you're a good person and that sometimes you can't always change the other person.
Exactly. It's much better said than what I said.
No worries, I had time. Well, yeah, I was thinking in my head while you were going, okay.
Wonderful way to put it.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so, also, negativity can come from anywhere, honestly. It could be in even your own friend group. One of my favorite quotes that I absolutely live by is, a friend will never demand your silence or your right to grow. So if you're growing as an artist, a friend's not going to get jealous. A friend's not going to put you down. They're going to want to support you. They're going to be happy for your accomplishments, not mad that you're accomplishing. So it's a good idea to really look at your friends circle, the people close to you, especially when you're going to be putting yourself online. You really need that support from people. And it's very important to have that small handful of people that you know you can trust and you can open up to. And honestly, it could be hard. It's for me, I had very toxic friends before, and sometimes it's hard to see past it because you care so much about them or you're trying so hard to stay friends with them. But that's definitely not gonna help you out in the long run. Something that my husband says all the time is like, you're the best habits of people, or how do you say it? He said, the way you are is influenced by the 5 closest people that you hang out with. And I try to hang out with people who inspire me, who I admire, who I know are hard workers and that I want to be where they are. So I try to keep myself with people that I know in the long run will benefit me as a person and help me grow as an artist. And yeah, so it's all about finding that support with people. So
That's amazing advice and something that I needed to hear. So thank you. So a lot of the times you'll find too, like how many people here have already started cosplaying or like thinking of dabbling in? There we go. How many of you guys, your family knows? There we go. My family can be supportive about it, but there's a big portion of my family that don't understand it. My grandmother, for instance, she commented on my public post, and it was my Cami cosplay, and she goes, "This is degrading to the entire family." So like everyone saw it. So what I did was I went over to her house and I had a conversation, and it took a really, really long time. It took her about 3 years. I got another comment 2 days ago from her on my page. Like, oh no, oh no, oh no. I go on to it and she goes, "This is my favorite." I was just, oh, cool. So if you're having trouble with your family being accepting of something different, whether it's your hobby, your passion, your love, your boyfriend, girlfriend, etc., just know that with time and patience, sometimes they don't understand because they're seeing this is all new. Like, why are people dressing up outside of Halloween? It takes time. You know, it can take years. But eventually, with just a little bit of patience and love, the people around you that aren't so understanding about it, they'll be willing to listen. If there's someone that if you guys both love each other, they'll listen to you.
And like touching on that, actually my mom definitely did not like me cosplaying. I actually had to hide my costumes under my bed when she would come up to my room. And she actually found one and threw it away, and that was a little traumatizing. But after a while, I guess she understood and realized that, you know, I think I realized as well that she did it out of love and just wanted to make sure that I had my life in order before I got into something she didn't understand. So most of the time with friends or family members, it's a big miscommunication, misunderstanding. So talking about it is definitely something that you should do, especially if you want to stay in this hobby and feel like you're supported by the people you care about. Let's go to the next one. Okay. Body positivity. So with body positivity, I know this is a big thing. And as you guys can see, I would say we're different, you know, sizes, different shapes. No matter if you're skinny, super fit, you know, chubby, thick, like it doesn't matter. Everyone's gonna try and body shame you. I've had a lot of things said to me. I'm sure a lot of people have said things to you. But honestly, your worst enemy is yourself. It's all about, you know, whether or not you accept these. Oh, was that?
Hence your ego.
How was that?
Hence, because you're saying that my ego is the worst enemy.
No, not your ego. I mean, it's good to have confidence. Maybe not too much confidence where you're kind of putting everybody down, but it's good to build that confidence and to have confidence because you're going to need that when you start posting online and when you start doing things online and doing events and conventions. You definitely have to break out of your shell a lot of the time And one of the best things is to have a healthy mindset. Whenever you're going into something new, whenever even relationships, you're going into something new, like a hobby or a relationship or a job, it's good to be mentally prepared, physically and mentally prepared, because especially with cosplay, it is very physically demanding and mentally exhausting sometimes, you know, so. But the good thing about cosplay, it's a good opportunity to learn a lot about yourself. I learned a lot about what I can do. I learned a lot about how I interact with people, how I connect with people. And I learned how to accept a lot of different personalities. When before, I would be a little bit hesitant or a little bit judgy, but now I know there's so many different personalities out there and there's different ways to handle them. And then I know you have some points about body positivity as well.
So one of the things that I like to talk about most with body positivity is taking baby steps into doing things that improve for yourself and to know what you like. Just because you don't feel comfortable or confident enough to wear a certain cosplay does not mean that you're body positive. A lot of times I'll see that online, like, oh, you won't wear that costume? Like, do you think that you're too fat to wear that costume? Like, they'll actually flat out say that. I'd be like, oh, that's kind of anti-body positivity of you, because you don't think that you're good enough for it, and that's how they try to help you. It's like, no, I'm gonna take my baby steps. I'm happy with my body, but I want to feel comfortable in this costume that I'm in. And if it takes me time to gussy up the courage to wear that costume, that's perfectly fine. Like, one of the costumes I've been wanting to do for years is Hyrule Warrior Zelda. I have it sitting on my dress form. It's been there for a year now, and I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet, and that does not mean that I dislike myself. It just means that I'm taking steps to my own happiness and to my own growth until where I feel happy and confident, to when I put that costume on, there won't be a doubt in my mind that I feel fabulous. Another thing that I want to say is when it comes to spreading body positivity is that I feel like every person here will make themselves feel happier and the people around them if you guys go out of your way and find somebody and give them a compliment. Like, it is like, if I'm walking down the street, even just at the bank, doesn't even have to be in cosplay, and I open the door, if someone says, ooh, I love your nails, I will remember that for the rest of the day. I'll just be like, ooh. And if all of us could just do something like that, just go out of our way to go be nice to someone, it'll help countless people. So I encourage you, just do it. It'll be amazing. It'll make yourself feel good too.
So yeah, that's a good point too, just making people also happy and being a very positive impact in the community. And you know, I'm pretty sure if you guys remember a time when someone went up to you and said, I like your hair, I like your shirt, like how it made you feel, you know? And that's definitely a good thing to spread, especially in this community.
When is a good time to answer questions?
Oh, I'll right after this slide, I'll answer questions, yeah.
Right.
Also, with making mistakes, don't be afraid to make mistakes, especially if it's your new costume or you're a new cosplayer. Even I make mistakes. I made this shit like 3 times. Am I allowed to say, oh, I'm not allowed to curse, sorry.
She didn't say that word. She said shoot.
I said shoot.
I made this crap.
Like when you shoot basketballs. But yeah, it's the thing with cosplay, it's all about learning. It doesn't matter if you're a veteran, it doesn't matter if you're a newbie. It honestly, making mistakes is probably the best thing you can do because you learn from it. And I'm the kind of person that I have to be very hands-on to understand something. If I watch a YouTube video of it, I'm gonna be like, at the end of that video, I don't know what that was.
Watch 3 seconds of video, pause, rewind. 3 seconds of video, pause, rewind.
She did what now? So like, it's all about being hands-on, making mistakes. And the best thing is that success in the end is the reward of making mistakes. In the end, you understand better about something if you are hands-on and if you make those mistakes. So, anybody have questions so far?
Have you heard about Momo-kun?
What was that?
Have you guys heard about
Momo-kun?
We won't get
That's
into
the
that.
subject we should talk about.
Yeah.
It's for another time.
That's for when you're at home and want to vent. So next slide. Okay, so hobby to profession.
Can I actually say something small about it that's not
Yeah.
about her necessarily? Since we were talking about body positivity, and since you mentioned that cosplayer, the only thing I can really say about that I feel comfortable with saying is that whether you like her or you dislike her, spread your message of positivity and giving compliments and just trying to build up the community, and it will overshadow any of the kind of the negativity that's been going on right now online with the community. So regardless of whether you're a fan or not, I feel like I'm word vomiting, but I think it's important to say, because I feel like, dang it, I had this worded out so well in my head.
Isn't that how it always goes?
I feel like, as much as it is an uncomfortable question, I feel like it is important to say that it is important to stick to your beliefs and how you feel is right or wrong to treat people, and to stick to your gut and to stand up for what you believe in regardless of what you think the people around you will say about you. If you're worried that, if your friends, your group of friends are all supportive of this one idea that you feel really uncomfortable with, it's okay to step back. It's okay to say that you feel like something isn't right. And if you see someone being bullied, do not ever be afraid to stand up for them. Because no matter what, the truth always comes out when someone's acting that way. And you will always have people that will have your back regardless of whether you feel like you will or not. If you know in your gut that it's the right thing to do, it's probably right.
Yeah, and another point on that as well, there are, like I said, there are bad eggs in the community, but the one thing you can definitely do is just be a good impact. Because what you do as a person is all that should matter to you. If you know that you're a good person and you know that you're doing the right thing or you're doing your best to do the right thing, that's what matters. What everyone else is doing, that's on them. You're not living with their mistakes. You're not living with their problems. All that matters is if you can spread positivity. That way people can understand that the community is very, very helpful and very supportive. Because I feel like a lot of people like to spread the negativity all the time. For some reason that makes the biggest news. But I can see why people like drama, but...
It's why reality TV shows such a big thing.
That's true, that's true. But cosplay is not a reality TV show, so let's try not to...
It was once.
Do that. Yeah. Oh, it was once, yeah, you're totally right, totally right. So yeah, definitely positivity and being a good person and just being who you think you want to be in the future.
And not being afraid to stand up for what you think is right. If you see someone doing something mean to your friend or something to you, it's completely okay to stand up.
So the next thing we're going to talk about is from hobby to... I didn't even know you were going to wear this costume. And I like how it's on this side too.
Sorry, they're not here. Never mind.
I like how it's on that side too.
I get it now.
So from hobby to profession. And what's really cool is that we have different actually ways that we have turned this hobby into profession. The first question a lot of people will ask, well, how do I make the money? Well, there's a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different ways to turn this hobby into profession and to work with companies and all that stuff. The biggest thing that you need to do first is build a portfolio. And like every job, you kind of want to have that with cosplay or modeling even. You want to make sure you have pictures and portfolios and stuff like that. Somewhere you can keep all of your photos. For me, it's Facebook. So whenever I want to go work for a company, I'll just be like, oh, here's my work. It's on my Facebook page, and they'll look through that. So you want to build you want to build a portfolio, and you also want to build a community. And also what kind of community you want to go for. You know, there's different kinds of cosplay. Like there's the lewd cosplay. There's, you know, the crazy armor making one. There's a lot of different kinds of cosplay. But depending on what kind of audience you want and what kind of community you want, that's how you should gear towards. That's how you should plan it, depending on what kind of people you want in your community. Oh, there we go. But I'll let you talk about how you, with Patreon and everything.
Good old Patreon. So I started on Patreon about a year ago, and what I like to suggest to people when they start their Patreon is to start it as a hobby. Start it on the side, never, because I see so many people coming into cosplay right off the bat for the money, when the way that I like to view it, if you're going to invest so much time and effort into something, it has to be your hobby first. It has to be your passion before you turn it into a career. So when I started with my Patreon, I did it while I worked my full-time job, working 9 to 5. I started with really simple, small rewards. And then as people started to gain interest in my Patreon and started being able to support more of my cosplays and my work, it got to the point where I was able to switch my current career working with exhibitor services, working in an office 9 to 5, switching that over to my passion, which was the cosplay. It took a lot of work, it took a lot of tears, but it's worth it. It's worth it, and if you guys believe in yourself, you guys can do it, and it will take time. It's not something that'll happen quickly. It's something that has its up and down, and when it comes down to Patreon too, which is why a lot of the times I'll suggest if you're going into your career route is to actually start with her route. Because a lot of times with Patreon, the money could disappear in a month. You have to always understand that if you're going to be doing cosplay as a business with Patreon, is that it is not on anybody really. Like, you can't depend on people to pay your bills each month. You can't expect that from anybody. It's not like it's a corporation, you know what I mean? It's not like Patreon is the one paying you, it's your people. It's the people that you love, it's your fan base. So there is a chance and a possibility that that money is just gonna vanish and poof, and you have to understand that that's okay because you love your job, you love it, it's your passion, cosplay is everything that you care about, and it's okay. It's okay to not have this as a full-time job. It's okay to do it on the side. It's okay to make one costume a year. It's what I did for a really long time. And I love cosplay just as much then as I do now. But that being said, there's also other things that you can do with the cosplay career too. You can also try out for doing different events. Like this was for Evo and Red Bull. You can go talk to people and have a lot of fun, different experiences with that. It's really special and it's really cool.
So yeah, I don't have a Patreon, but it's a lot of work. I see people with Patreon and I'm like, whew, it is intense. But like she said, if you enjoy something, it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you can be one of those people who work and doing something that they love, and who doesn't want to do that? But the first step to that is actually having passion for it. And not just doing it for the money, not just doing it for the fame, because that will only get you so far. Because once it starts getting really hard, you're going to need that fire and that passion to keep you going. And that's a lot of the reason why I see a lot of cosplayers burn out and they just get out of the cosplay community because they just don't have the passion for it, or maybe they just didn't have it in the first place. So it's really good to really understand who you are as a cosplayer and definitely as a person before you get into something like that. And then also, you could sell prints on the side. I have a store Envy where I sell prints. I also stream as well full time, so I'm on Twitch just gaming and raging.
I have a question for
Yeah.
you about that. For when it came to streaming, how long have you been streaming for, and how did you start getting involved in that? Because I've been terrified to stream. I have my Twitch up, but I haven't streamed. So how did you get involved in that, and how did you build up the courage to be able to play in front of an audience?
So actually, that's a very interesting story too to that. The reason why I got into streaming is because I was very lonely. Well, actually, my husband and I moved from Vegas. I was originally here in Vegas, and I moved to Colorado with him. And I was very lonely. I didn't know anyone. All my friends were back home. And I was so used to everyone just coming over to my house and we just play video games. And I didn't have that anymore. And I missed it. So I remember my friend, we were playing, I don't know if you guys know the the game Ark Survival. Yeah. the Jurassic Park simulator, yeah. We played that, I was playing that and he wanted to see the thing, so he was like, oh, why don't you start streaming? I want to see you play this game and that game. And I was like, oh, okay, I can totally do that. I honestly didn't go in there thinking that you can make any kind of living on this. I never watched any Twitch streamers or anything like that. But my friend told me about Twitch and I was like, oh, people live stream for a living? And I was like, this person's just eating.
This person's just sitting in an armchair in front of a fire.
Yeah, this person's dancing. Like, you know. So that's how I got into streaming, and I've been doing it for almost 3+ years. And I was terrified. Yeah, it's very hard at first because you're getting like no views, and now you have to learn how to talk to yourself pretty much. And so coming up with things on the fly was very hard at first, and there was a lot of awkward silences at the beginning. But after a while, if you're consistent and you keep at it and you have a good personality and you be yourself, because people can really...
They can tell.
Yeah, they can tell if you're being fake or if you're trying to have like a persona or something. Sometimes that works and sometimes, but most of the time it doesn't. So it's all about being yourself, and once you get that down, people who really like you for your personality will come, you know, strolling on in. And now I have regular people that I actually really enjoy and talk to on a daily basis. And I like to tell stories to them and talk to them. And so you really build this like good community. And so actually when I'm having a bad day, I always look forward to streaming because it's just a fun time now and I look forward to it and I always have fun talking to those people. So that's how I got into streaming. Let's see, networking. I know you have some points about networking.
Networking? Okay. All right, so when it comes down to networking, everyone knows the big basic is to first upload your page on social media. Don't be afraid to make an Instagram account. Have fun creating a name. Invite yourself to cons. Go ahead and have fun. Something that a lot of cosplayers, even I'm slowly starting to do it, is that when it comes to guesting at cons, you don't have to have a giant following in order to guest at a con. But I do encourage you to ask. Get your name out there. Let them know that you're interested. Let them know that you're interested in hosting a panel, doing stuff like this. I assure you, I'm going to become friends with some of you guys in the audience after this. I want to come talk to you. It's a great way for networking. It's a great way for us to meet each other, to be able to build relationships, future collaborations, being able to do cosplay projects together, streams together. It's pretty awesome. So my number one advice when it comes to networking is to just communicate. Just let people know what you're interested in, what you want, and don't be afraid to get yourself out there, and don't be afraid of rejection. That's the top thing that I struggle with myself when it comes to applying for cons. Because I always worry when I put in an application, I'm always worried, I'm like, I'm gonna get that rejection letter and I'm gonna be crushed. But just know that you'll get rejection, but when you get the positive reinforcement, when you get a good gig or something going on, that's what's gonna keep you going. That's what you latch on to. And then you'll realize when you start networking, when you start working with different people, you'll learn more about yourself and the type of companies that you want to work with. And that's something that I also want to talk about with when it comes to knowing your worth, when it comes to your networking and not selling yourself short, because been there, done that.
Yeah. So, yeah, networking is very important. Going to events, meeting people, breaking out of your shell, especially with working with companies. Right now, I'm contracted with Bandai Namco, so I do a lot of their cosplays for Tekken and Code Vein coming out, all those games. And they want you to be very engaging, and they want you to have a presence, and that's why they hired you to cosplay the characters. They want you to have a presence and to know the game. So a lot of the time, I'll do research. If I want to work with a company like, let's say, Square Enix, I will do research on their games if I haven't already played them. I'll do research on what games they're working on at the moment. I'll do that research because if you want to make it into a job, then you got to treat it like a job. You know, if you're going to go into a field like being a doctor, you're not just going to go in not knowing anything, you know? that's not good. Someone's gonna die, you know? So, but you always want to do research, especially when you're working with a certain company. And like she said, don't be afraid to get rejected. A lot of people have this notion that if you're good, these companies will reach out to you. That's definitely not the case. When I first landed my few jobs with companies, I actually had to reach out to them because these companies won't always see you. They're bombarded with DMs and ad tweets and all that stuff. They're not always gonna see your stuff. So it's always good to reach out. Don't ever think you're not good enough for a certain company. Don't ever think, oh, I don't have enough numbers to work for this company. Don't ever think that, because if you think that, they'll get that feeling from you. And they'll be like, this person isn't confident to represent us, because in the end, you are representing their game, you are representing their company. So it's always good to, when you start working, to start having that mentality of, I'm a worker, get into a good work ethic, and start reaching out and networking with these people. And the best way to actually connect with companies is going to events like Evo, which was here 2 weeks ago?
Yes.
Yeah. And then, or like events like E3 or PAX, even Anime Expo. There's a lot of companies that are over there, and actually a lot of them are willing to talk to you. It's just all about making the first step to talk to them and be like, hi, my name is so-and-so, I am a cosplayer, I love your guys' games, or I love your guys' anime, I would love to work with you guys in the future. Also, the biggest thing I always tell everyone to bring at a convention is business cards.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I've gotten so many jobs because some guy looked into his wallet, cleaned it out, and was like, huh, I'm gonna contact this person. You know, it's good to have business cards because that way they have a way to contact you, and if they do see it, they have you in their mind already when they look at your business card.
Another thing that I would like to add is that there's actually a lot of really great Facebook groups here in town. It's actually how I got my gig for the Fortnite event with Unicorn, was because someone posted in the Amazing Las Vegas, it wasn't Amazing Las Vegas, I apologize, Cosplay Hangouts for on Facebook. You can look up just like Facebook groups in Vegas for cosplay. And if you go, you can request to join the group, and a lot of times you'll see people putting up advertisements being like, hey, I'm looking for a cosplayer to come work this event in 2-3 days, last minute, and that's how you'll get your foot in the door, which is pretty great. You'll be surprised by how many ads that you'll see for people looking for cosplayers to hire, and a lot of times it'll be something that's really relevant and fun. Chances are it's something that you'll play already, which is really great too. So just always keep an eye out, turn on post notifications, keep an eye on everything that's been going on, and you guys will find a gig. It'll be really cool. That's also how I got my gig for working with Evo, with Red Bull, was also someone just posting in a Facebook group being like, hey, we're trying to find cosplayers, does anyone want to apply? So highly suggest joining that group. I have to pinpoint exactly what the name of the group I'm in. Pretty sure it's just Las Vegas cosplayers. Like, it's really simple, but I'll go ahead and I'll link on my page probably right after this panel and find that group for you guys so that you guys can join that too.
So yeah, it's good to be very active in the community. That is definitely how you're going to get noticed by senpai. So don't think that you're, I guess, spamming. Like, you know, a lot of people will be like, oh, I don't want to post this because, you know, maybe I might be spamming. Oh, maybe people will think I'm narcissistic or something, you know. But you want to get yourself out there. Especially if it's something you really enjoyed making or cosplaying, you want people to see it. Like I said, it's an art, you know. You don't see an artist and he makes a painting and just hides it in his closet for the rest of his days. No, you want people to see your art, and that is how you're going to get people to notice your art and actually share your art. So it's good to, like I said, to build a portfolio and start showing these companies, showing these people, this is me. This is what I can do. Let me know if I can help you in any way. So, does anyone have any questions so far?
When you first started off streaming, how did you determine your schedule?
I actually based it off my husband's schedule. He's in the military. So I said, well, when you're at work, I'll stream because what else am I going to do? I have a dog. and I walk him and he gets distracted by every living thing outside. And then what am I gonna do for the rest of my days, you know? So I just base it off my schedule. And the thing with streaming especially, you want to make a schedule. I noticed that my views jumped significantly when I had a schedule, because if people really enjoy your stream, they'll work their schedule around yours. So if you're very sporadic and not consistent, people aren't willing to tune in to see, oh, is she on? Is she on? You know? So if you are gonna do streaming, I do suggest that you start getting a schedule. Try it out first, definitely. But then when you have a rhythm and you have a kind of like habit or personality or something that you're comfortable with, then that's when you start making a schedule.
With that being said, do you think it's good to do a bunch of streaming during the week, or is it okay to pick like 1 day or 2 days?
I know people who do like 1 or 2 days. It definitely does depend on the growth. So once you look at the numbers and once you are comfortable with how much it's growing, then you can of course increase the number. For me, I travel a lot, so my schedule's all over the place. But that's the thing, if you do have a spontaneous schedule, you always have to communicate. So I have a Discord, you know, on Twitter. I'll let them know, hey guys, I'm not streaming today, or hey, I'm out of town. Let them know, because if you include them and you keep them up to date, they're gonna know that, oh, this person's gonna keep me in the loop. I like this person, and they're just gonna be happy with how you're managing the channel. So, any other questions?
With streaming, somebody that wants to start streaming, is it like the same with Patreon where you do tiers and stuff? Like when you do like 10 for this in certain months, how do you determine to do your tiers like streaming?
Do you mean, I'm so sorry, are you talking about tiers for Twitch or like for Patreon?
I've been trying to wonder, if you're starting out, you want to start streaming, I've tried to reach out, how do you start doing it? A lot of times people will tell me do Patreon, and then you'll start getting tiers. I don't want to do it for the money, I just want to play. So what's the difference between streaming and Patreon? Twitch and Patreon, what's the difference of money-wise?
I would say that for Twitch, the way that it works is that you'll see that there's a subscription button that they'll have up on their stream, and that's up to the person who creates their stream to set that up. What's the site that they use for it? Because I don't know how to set it up to set up your donation bar.
Oh, so donation, it's a panel on Twitch. So you just take a picture and it's actually linked to, I think it's Streamlabs, and they link it straight to your PayPal. So it's not like Patreon where there are rewards for the donations. I mean, for subs and donations, you can make rewards. For me, if someone donates $10, I sing them a really bad rendition of their favorite song. And then they just hate the song right after. And with subbing on Twitch, you get sub badges and emotes. So that with Patreon, you set up different rewards.
So for Twitch, when you pay to subscribe, you get notified when they go up on stream. A lot of the times people will put it that only paid for subscribers can go into the chat to be able to talk with you directly while you're playing the game. So that's basically how it would work for Twitch. Versus with Patreon, it's kind of more not necessarily, you can do it for streaming. I haven't seen it too much for Twitch users. I've seen it for YouTubers. Because a lot of times with ad revenue on YouTube going down, they're not able to afford to be able to produce the videos. It's kind of more so when you're playing a video game on stream, you're not making that video game. You're casually kind of just playing the game and communicating and talking with your people. Versus on Patreon, you have a goal and a project that you're working towards. And the people that go onto your Patreon are the people that are helping you reach that goal. So that's why you'll have rewards. For my instance is that I'll do a set for a month per month, and then each month when people help me, it helps me to be able to pay for the next cosplay. So it helps me be able to create content consistently that costs me a lot of money to be able to produce, Versus with like Twitch, it's kind of more so of kind of like, are you familiar with coffee by any chance?
Yeah.
It's a lot more kind of like that, just being like, hey, I like you, I want to see more of you. It's kind of more of like the personality for Twitch versus with Patreon. It's a part of its personality, but most of it, it's the content that you're producing. I wouldn't be able to do my Patreon if it was just me talking with people. They're there to see what I can make with the costumes.
Any other questions?
Okay, so I just wanted to first start off by saying, like, about a year ago or so, or around 2016, right after I got out of high school, I started doing like a YouTube channel, and because I played this game called Kingdom Hearts Cross, and now it's called it was Unchained Key, but now it's Union Cross.
Yeah.
So I've been playing the game up till like now recently, but I told myself that I was going to quit playing it when Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out. But my first motive when I started my YouTube channel and started playing it and showing people my experiences on the game was that I actually might make money off of this. Like, I might actually live off of this without having to like go like an outside and actually work. But then it kicked into myself that like maybe I can work and schedule doing YouTube videos on my free time, like on the weekends or so. And so my motives changed. Now I want to be able to entertain people rather than do it just for money.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, when you first started off, what was your motive, like, as far as like, did you want to get paid, or did you want to see like people be entertained by your content?
Oh, for streaming or for cosplay?
Just in, like, yeah.
Oh, just in general? So my motivation, and I think it's still my motivation, is definitely not the money. It's definitely, I just really enjoy it. Like, I'm a very creative person. Me and my sisters, we are all creative people. We just like to draw and make stuff with our hands. And if I didn't have art and I didn't have creativity, I don't know what I would be doing. I just love making stuff and being creative, and cosplay has given me this huge platform to just do whatever I want. I learned how to make makeup for different characters, wig styling, which I'm still not that good at, but we'll get there. I had to learn how to sew. I even had to learn how to act. I know when I work with some of the companies, they want me to stay in character, and it's hard to stay in character sometimes because I'm a very goofy person. But yeah, I learned how to act, learned how to pose, model. There's a lot of different things. And what's cool about cosplay is no matter what you're into, there's some kind of aspect in cosplay that always makes you want to learn more and just keeps you wanting to keep on cosplaying. So hope that answers your question. Oh, well, how about you? What motivates you?
For me, when I started cosplaying, it wasn't until years later when I did start the Patreon for it. For me, I started cosplaying because I wanted to make friends. I grew up in school where I wasn't really allowed to hang out with the crowd that went to conventions. The crowd. My mom was like, that kid runs weird. I was like, it's not real. But I grew up in a pretty strict household. I wasn't allowed to watch Pokemon because of the lights. My mom was worried that it was going to give me a seizure. My mom also wouldn't let me watch Sailor Moon because their skirts were too short. So when I moved back to Vegas, I spent a lot of the time on the computer. I was playing Neopets a lot, and I wanted to make friends. I was really lonely. I didn't go out. I would just hang out in my room. And then when I saw Kalika doing her cosplay and going to these conventions, I was like, oh, I want to do that too. So really, my number one thing for cosplaying is that I really want to make friends. I used to work for Sephora. I'm very passionate about makeup. I did schooling for it, and I love to be able to create for that. The reason why I went to Patreon was because it was helping me be able to produce even more content than I normally did. If I did stop doing Patreon, I would still cosplay. What happened for me is that my cosplays went from being about 5 cosplays a year to over 30 a year because I was able to do it that way. But I also understand that this is my passion and my hobby, so that if I did leave Patreon, I would still continue doing it. I wouldn't produce as many costumes, but I'd also still continue making costumes that I really love. So it's a mix of both, because for me it's my career, but it's also my passion and my hobby. So I think that I'm really lucky and thankful for the opportunities that I have doing it, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. But I also just I never want to stop doing it. I want to be able to continue to create and grow and love what I do, regardless of whether people around me want to support that or not.
And also with any hobby, it takes money. So, I mean, if you can find a way to make money from your hobby, to fund your hobby, then that's just golden.
Yeah, it's kind of like anyone that goes to art school and, does a painting. It's the same thing when it comes to your cosplay. You're still creating art.
So for you, I would definitely keep that passion, because especially when you're doing streaming or YouTubes, what is it, YouTubes? YouTubes.
When you're on the YouTube.
Especially those things where people can actually see your face, interact with you, and all that stuff. You definitely want to show that you have passion for it, because once you lose that, people can actually physically see that in you. Unlike with cosplay, if you're not a streamer, people will just see your pictures. They'll be like, oh, she looks happy. Oh, she looks like she's having fun. But then when you're actually live streaming or actually on video, people can pick up if you're really passionate about it, or if you have other motives or anything like that. So my best advice for you is just to be yourself. Enjoy what you're putting out, because honestly, if you're not enjoying the content that you're putting out, people are not going to enjoy it either. I know it sounds weird, but people can see the passion behind your work. And so if they can tell that you're not passionate about it, they won't be as passionate about watching it. So, any other questions?
It's that baby Alex.
The baby in the bottom.
It's a baby Cammy.
It's a baby Cammy.
Yeah, do you see the braids?
Oh, I didn't even see the baby!
Oh my God, this is a picture of me holding a baby. I took it home with me. I got in big trouble.
I actually put that picture in the PowerPoint. I did not see that baby till now. I just
carried a
saw
doll around
four
with me.
beautiful women, and I was like, wow, they're so pretty. I did not see the baby.
There was another question. I saw someone. Yes?
I'm slowly trying to get into cosplay.
Uh-huh.
I've yet to get a dress for it. I know some people don't make theirs, or they'll just buy it. Is there necessarily one that you would prefer to do?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the second part. Did you say about a dress form?
Yeah, like
Okay.
getting the dress form. Would you say it's better to just make your own, or see some people do that, or just buy it, or does it matter?
For me personally, I actually just got a, oh, thank you, sorry. I just got a dress form a couple months ago. For me, because I learned how to, pretty much what I would do is I'd wrap my body in styrofoam, and then I would use masking tape, get a buddy, have them tape around me, draw on that, cut it out. I learned that way, because dress forms can be pretty pricey. My dad just bought me a dress form for Christmas. And right now, I just have my Hyrule Warrior Zelda costume just like sitting on it. I don't necessarily use it for making stuff, but it's a really great way to be able to see what you've created and to be able to like map everything out. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it personally for me when I create costumes to use it to help you with measurements. Because a lot of the times, like my dress form, because I'm plus size, I have the one that like cranks open. But even then, the dress form doesn't account for my breast size, my shoulder width, etc. So I find that it's not completely accurate, so I don't feel comfortable personally for me, depending on it, when it comes down to creating my patterns. I prefer to draw straight on my body or use altered pieces.
And with dress forms, like she said, dress forms can only accommodate certain sizes. So if you, with different body shapes and everything, I would definitely, if you want to get a dress form, it is good when you're working with Warbler. If you want to shape something, because you can't put on your body and put a heat gun to it, because that's not fun.
I've tried that before. I would not recommend.
That's not good. But it is good to have a dress form or even a mannequin where you can form armor with the Warbler or EVA foam on that. I personally don't really have, I have a dress form, but I don't really use it because, you know, people's body shape is different. Like even if the waist fits perfectly, you know, I might have wider shoulders or skinnier hip or whatever. Like it doesn't accommodate for all of the different curves. So, I mean, you could make your own. I've had people make their own. And that's always a good idea too, because then you can have a perfect replica of your body and not, you know, a replica of someone else's view of a person's body.
What I like to do is I stuff it with newspaper after they do the plastic wrap, and then they put the tape on over it, cut yourself out really gently, tape that right back up. You got a little mini you and just shove a pillow in it or shove newspaper in it. Really easy to use.
Any other questions? No? Okay, I think I have one more slide here. Let's see here. Oh, no, questions.
There was one more thing I wanted to add for knowing your worth.
Oh, yeah, let me.
So when it comes down to knowing your worth in cosplay, I think it's really important to know that for me, when I first started out going in, I just wanted to work with somebody, anybody. So unfortunately, I made some bad choices and worked with companies that I didn't love, that I didn't feel passionate about, or I felt like I would work 10, 11-hour days and then come home with like 20, 30 bucks. And it got to the point where like I had to realize like, what is my worth? What do I want to charge to be able to do this type of work that I'm doing? It's really important to know your worth. A lot of times when you start going into making costumes, you'll find that a lot of people suddenly are like, hey, can you help me with this costume? And it's really great and beneficial to be able to help your friends, but you need to understand that your time is valuable and that you should be appreciated. So where it comes down to like being, you know, when your friend's like, hey, can you make this costume for me? It's okay to turn to them and be like, I can help you with the costume and give you advice for it on you. Can I make it for you? No. It's completely okay to say that, and it's wonderful to be able to say that to brands too. For instance, I used to work at an anime shop that used to be here in town, and they would underpay me, pay me under the table, which was really shady, and I felt uncomfortable with doing it, but I was like, this is my first break. This is my first time working for a company. I was so excited. I thought that, you know, nothing could go wrong with it, and it ended up biting me in the butt in the end. So it's important for you guys to follow your guts and stick with brands and companies that you appreciate their values, because it's a representation of yourself as well. That also goes with, because I was talking earlier about how I work with a lot of clothing companies and wig companies on Instagram. I got approached by a diet tea company. No, because I don't want that to represent me. If you're comfortable with being that represented to you, and if it's something you're passionate about, by all means do it. But if it's just a product that you don't love, it's okay to say no, because there will always be something else that's coming.
So don't ever sell yourself short, especially when you're starting to work out. Companies will ask you, oh, what's your rate for the day? Don't ever think that you're not worth a certain number. It's good to have to ask people, people who have worked with the company before, ask them, oh, what was the average of how they paid you, or what were your rates? And then just build a kind of basis off of that. Don't ever sell yourself short, because some companies will take advantage of that. Some companies will be like, oh, well, she only wants this much money. Okay, but they won't tell you that, oh, they're paying their other models a certain amount, and you're kind of getting the lower end of the stick. So don't ever sell yourself short, especially when it comes to being a professional and working in the industry.
I will say too, it is a major red flag if you're working for a company that tells you, like if you're working with 2 other models and they want you to do an agreement or sign something that says you will not discuss with your fellow models how much you're paying. That's a red flag. Just like in any company or business, if you guys are doing the same job, you deserve the same pay, and it's completely acceptable for you to be able to talk with your coworkers, basically.
But yeah, So overall, with cosplay, the one thing I want you guys to remember is that cosplay is supposed to be fun. It's all about having fun. Yeah, there is a professional side to it, there's the hobby side to it, but in all, if you're not having fun with something, why do it? If you're not passionate about something, why do it? You know, so I always tell people, remember the first time you got into a cosplay, remember the good things that happened, the people, the friends you made, the people you met, and just keep that with you. Because when times get rough, especially in this community, that's going to be your driving force in the end, and that's what's going to motivate you to keep going. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If anyone has any other questions, definitely ask right now. But if you want, you can also see us at our booth. You can talk to us over there. I think we might be in the same, or neighbors?
Sure we're neighbors.
Okay, we're neighbors. I'm just like waving from...
We're literally right when you walk into the door, take a right, we're right there. We're pretty cool. I got a giant red balloon. You won't miss it.
You're selling maps.
But you can find me on Twitch, Twitter, or Facebook at Fruitcake. It's either XX Fruitcake or XO. I don't know. But where can they find you?
You can find me at Gabrielle Cook with an E at the end, so like cookie cosplay, and then Gabby C cosplay on Twitter.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for coming. I hope this was insightful for you guys, and I hope it helped you out. But like I said, if you have any other questions, definitely don't hesitate to come up to us. We love talking to people. We love helping people out. So yeah, hope to see you guys at our booth.